Madam Secretary, I'm pleased that your budget proposes to increase another important program, the charter school program. While West Virginia is fairly new to offering charter school education, we are already seeing promising results and expanded opportunities for our public school students. For example, the Wynn Academy in Bridge Valley, at Bridge Valley Community and Technical College, is an early college charter high school designed to provide a free, accelerated, dynamic degree program for juniors and seniors in the Kanawha Valley. The school was started to help local hospitals address the severe shortage in nursing, and has been so successful that it has already been expanded to include an advanced manufacturing track in partnership with Toyota. Students are enrolled in the college and graduate from high school ready to start their careers in high-need, well-paying jobs. The school is meeting the intent of other charter schools, using the flexibility they are granted to offer innovative learning opportunities to benefit students. With the additional funding for charter schools proposed in your budgets, I know that many more students across the country would benefit from opportunities like the West Virginia Wynn Academy. Secretary McMahon, this is a pivotal time for our nation's student loan borrowers. Borrowers have been forced to navigate an exceptionally confusing 4 years full of bad advice and unfair promises of illegal loan forgiveness from the prior administration. And as a result, 1 in 4 student loan borrowers is either in default or on a late stage of delinquency on their loans as of the beginning of May. And only 38% of borrowers are actually in repayment and current on their student loans. After years of confusion, the department must work to restore trust with borrowers by providing clear and consistent information about repayment. Student loan borrowers deserve that clarity in order to fulfill their obligations to repay their loans. I'm grateful that under your leadership, the department has begun the difficult task of getting borrowers back on the path to repayment, and I look forward to your continued progress. Secretary McMahon, the fiscal year 2026 appropriations process will be challenging, but I look forward to working with you to responsibly allocate our limited taxpayers' resources to programs that help provide the best opportunity for high-quality education for all students. Thank you again for being here today, and I look forward to your testimony. Now I will turn to Senator Baldwin for her opening statement.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you, Chair Capito. And Secretary McMahon, thank you for being here today. We're here to talk about the President's fiscal year 2026 budget request for the Department of Education. And I look forward to working with Chair Capito and all the members of this committee on developing a fiscal year 2026 appropriations bill that funds the Department of Education. But before we can turn to the next fiscal year, 2026, the department is still refusing to tell Congress and the American public how it is spending billions of taxpayer dollars this fiscal year. The department was required to submit an operating plan last month detailing how it was spending fiscal year 2025 appropriated funding, and it included $13 billion in funding it characterized as unallocated. That's flatly unprecedented and unacceptable. This committee needs to know how you're planning to spend appropriated funding, and our constituents certainly deserve to know how their taxpayer dollars are being spent. State and school districts need to know how much federal funding they should expect to receive starting in less than 1 month. This administration obviously doesn't agree. Ironically, the budget request for next fiscal year includes more detail than the spend plan for this year. The lack of transparency combined with this budget request raises serious questions about what are you trying to hide and why. This all stems in part, Madam Secretary, because this administration seems focused above all else on dismantling the Department of Education to score political points, regardless of the impact on tens of millions of students, including some 800,000 public school students in the state of Wisconsin. Even issues I think we would agree are priorities, such as expanding career and technical education opportunities for students, will be undermined by this administration in the name of eliminating the department. I am very concerned by reports that you are trying to move career and technical education programs to the Department of Labor against mandates from Congress. and in a way that could harm students who participate in these vital programs. There's simply no reason to take this administration at its word when its actions tell a different story. It has shown time and again, the more forcefully it says one thing, the more it is doing the opposite. So, Madam Secretary, you claim the administration's goal of eliminating the department is about returning education to the states. At the same time, this administration is attempting to exert more control than ever over the decisions in our schools and campuses. This includes demanding that states certify that they are not implementing DEI, which the department purposefully left vague so it could cut off funding whenever it chooses. The department has reversed billions of approved spending extensions with the assertion that the department could pick and choose which congressionally authorized spending to approve or not. And it includes the unprecedented assault on some of our college campuses to exert control over their classrooms and their daily operations. You claim eliminating the department is not about cutting funding, but giving more flexibility to states and schools. But at the same time, you are proposing a budget that would cut $12 billion from funding that supports students and educators. This proposal would eliminate dedicated funding for evidence-based literacy instruction, support for homeless students, and rural schools. The proposal would cut billions from programs that states and school districts can already flexibly use to meet pressing needs. And in place of eliminating all these programs, the budget proposes a block grant, a quarter of the size of the program that it replaces. The budget proposes to cut more than $500 million from education research and statistics, virtually shutting down production of and support for using evidence to improve student achievement. You are proposing to eliminate programs that support non-traditional students in higher education, including TRIO, Gear Up, and See Campus. And you are proposing to drastically reduce the maximum Pell Grant award by almost $1,700, which have a devastating consequence for our nation's lowest income students, including those looking to acquire new skills to meet the needs of local employers and in-demand industries. The math is simple. This budget significantly cuts federal education funding. This issue isn't just what's being proposed in this budget request, but what the department is doing right now. Last month, the department decided to not continue $1 billion in multi-year grants that were improving access to mental health care in schools. This includes funding provided on a bipartisan basis in response to the Uvalde school shooting that took the lives of 19 students and 2 teachers while injuring 17 others. Madam Secretary, a recent survey revealed more than a third of Wisconsin's high school students reported feeling depressed, sad, or hopeless almost every day for 2 weeks or more in a row. We need to be providing more mental health support for our students, not less. The department claims that these grants were not in the federal government's interest. I repeat that. The department claims these grants were not in the federal government's interest, but refuses to provide specific reasons why they weren't continued. This funding isn't simply numbers on a spreadsheet or receipts for a website. This was more than 200 grants in nearly 40 states actively being used to increase the number of counselors and mental health professionals in schools. That's how this administration defines providing more flexibility to schools, by pulling the rug out from under them when they're trying to address the mental health needs of students. Finally, Madam Secretary, while this administration clearly wants to eliminate the Department of Education, Congress has not passed any law to do so. Quite the opposite, in fact. Just 2.5 months ago, Congress passed an appropriations bill that provided funding to the Department of Education